The starship Aurora's Pride glided silently through the cold, violet clouds of the Tarsus expanse. Its hull shimmered under the light of distant suns, carrying humans into territories unknown. Commander Elias Vorn, a man known among his peers for both courage and diplomacy, walked the polished corridors with measured steps. The ship's mission was delicate. Humanity had discovered a new alien civilization, the Serenyi, whose influence stretched across multiple systems. The humans hoped to establish trade, alliances, and peaceful relations. Yet, Elias knew that the first impression would be crucial. Elias paused at the observation deck. Through the thick glass, he saw the alien station floating like a jewel among the stars. Its architecture was unlike anything humans had seen before. Crystalline spires spiraled toward the void, and pools of luminescent liquid reflected colors that seemed impossible in any known spectrum. Aliens of various forms moved gracefully along the walkways, their motions precise and elegant. Among them, one figure stood apart. She was humanoid, yet her form carried an elegance beyond human comprehension. Her skin shimmered with a soft, opalescent glow, and her eyes held an intelligence that seemed to pierce the very soul. "Serenia," muttered Elias under his breath, recalling the intelligence briefings. She was the highest-ranking envoy of her people, known not just for her beauty but for her sharp mind and uncompromising judgment. Many who had attempted diplomacy with her had failed, unable to meet her standards of respect and intellect. Elias adjusted his uniform and squared his shoulders. This meeting would define humanity's standing in this part of the galaxy. As he stepped onto the station, the air shimmered with a subtle energy, a combination of alien technology and natural phenomenon. The reception hall was vast, filled with creatures of all shapes and colors, moving with purpose yet in harmony. Holographic displays floated in the air, depicting history, culture, and achievements of the Serenyi civilization. Humans were rare here. Their presence met with polite curiosity, but also cautious observation. Elias's escort guided him through the crowd until they reached the center, where Serenia stood waiting. Her gaze met his, steady and assessing. She inclined her head slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement. Elias returned the gesture, careful not to show either fear or arrogance. Every action was measured. Every word would matter. "Commander Vorn," she said, her voice melodic yet firm. "Welcome to my home. I trust your journey was without incident." "Thank you, Envoy Serenia," Elias replied. "The journey was smooth. It is an honor to meet you in person. Your civilization's achievements are remarkable." He paused, then added carefully, "And you, personally, are exceptionally impressive." A ripple went through the alien attendants. Humans rarely commented on appearance, and such words were considered bold, almost daring. Serenia's eyes flickered with surprise, but she did not react with offense. Instead, a small, almost imperceptible smile formed on her lips. "Bold words," she said softly, though the weight behind them was clear. "In my culture, we do not often speak of beauty, for it is meant to be understood, not described. Yet, you have chosen to do so. Why?" Elias met her gaze steadily. "Because respect comes in many forms, and acknowledgement of what is extraordinary is part of understanding it. I meant no offense, only honesty." For a moment, there was silence. The crowd seemed to hold its breath, waiting. Then, Serenia inclined her head slightly, as if weighing his words. "Honesty is a rare quality. Perhaps it is one humans possess in ways we often overlook." Relief washed over Elias, though he remained composed. He knew that first impressions were critical, and the fact that she did not take offense was a small victory. Yet, he sensed that her mind was already analyzing him, measuring every detail, every nuance of human behavior. The reception continued with formalities, but Elias could not take his eyes off Serenia. There was a magnetic intelligence about her, a presence that commanded attention without demanding it. As the crowd mingled, she moved through it with fluid grace, her gaze occasionally meeting his. Each time it did, he felt a mixture of respect and awe. After what seemed like hours, Serenia approached him again, gesturing for him to follow. Elias complied, curiosity and caution mingling in his thoughts. She led him through a series of corridors that shimmered with soft lights and shifting colors. The air seemed charged with subtle energy, and the architecture felt alive, as if the walls themselves were observing the visitors. Finally, they arrived at a garden unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Bioluminescent plants stretched toward the ceiling, their light pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Strange creatures moved among the flora, tending to the plants with precision. Water flowed in streams that defied gravity, spiraling upward before falling again. The air was fragrant, carrying scents that humans had no names for. "Commander," Serenia said, her voice softer here, almost intimate, "you have seen only the surface of our civilization. To truly understand it, you must experience it in ways beyond words. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that?" Elias nodded. "I am willing. I have come this far to understand, and I intend to learn as much as I can." Her eyes studied him, sharp and unyielding. "Very well. Then let us begin." She motioned for him to follow further into the garden. As they walked, she spoke of her people's values, their history, and their philosophies. She explained that beauty was intertwined with intellect and morality, and that observing and understanding it required more than mere words. Elias listened carefully, realizing that he was learning not just about a civilization but about a mindset that valued perception, thought, and action in ways humans rarely did. He asked questions, and she answered, sometimes with direct clarity, other times with riddles that challenged his understanding. At one point, she stopped by a pool of water that reflected the shifting light of the plants. "Commander Vorn," she said, "your presence here is unusual. Most humans would not endure these trials of patience, observation, and understanding. Yet, you have done so with composure and respect. Why?" Elias considered her question carefully. "Because humanity survives by learning, adapting, and respecting what is greater than ourselves. We have faced challenges that demanded courage, intellect, and humility. I approach your civilization the same way, with respect and a desire to understand." Serenia's eyes softened, but only slightly. "Humans are unpredictable. Your honesty and humility are unusual among your kind. Many would act out of pride or fear. You do not. That is intriguing." They walked further, and Elias noticed the subtle tests embedded in the garden. Pathways that shifted when approached, plants that reacted to thought, creatures that observed silently but seemed capable of intervention. He realized that Serenia was already testing him, observing how he reacted to unfamiliar rules and unpredictable situations. "You will find that our world does not operate on simple logic alone," she said. "It values creativity, morality, and insight. To succeed here, you must combine them all." Elias felt a thrill of both fear and excitement. Humanity had survived countless trials before on war-torn planets, in hostile space, and against hostile intelligence. Yet, this was different. This was not a matter of force or firepower, but of understanding, empathy, and intellect. Serenia paused at the center of the garden, where a crystalline structure rose like a miniature spire. Its surface reflected not only light, but also the observers themselves. "This is the heart of understanding," she said. "It will judge those who enter by their choices, their thoughts, and their respect for life. Are you prepared to face it?" Elias nodded, his heart steady despite the rising tension. "I am prepared. Humanity faces the unknown every day. We adapt. We endure. We strive to understand." She studied him for a long moment, then finally smiled, a rare gesture from someone so controlled and precise. "Very well, Commander Vorn. Let the trial begin." And in that moment, Elias understood that this encounter was only the beginning. The real test had yet to come, and it would challenge not only his mind but the very essence of what it meant to be human. Yet, he felt no fear, only determination curiosity, and the quiet confidence that humanity had something to prove, even here among the stars. As the light of the crystalline spire bathed him, Elias took a deep breath. Whatever lay ahead, he would face it with the same courage, intellect, and integrity that had carried humanity across the galaxy. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that Serenya's reaction to both him and his people would change the course of human history forever. The garden seemed alive, the paths shifting, the air vibrating with anticipation. Elias took the first step forward, and the trial began. The crystalline paths of the garden shifted beneath Elias's feet, guiding him forward as though the structure itself were alive. Serenya walked beside him, her presence calm, yet commanding. The bioluminescent plants pulsed gently, their light reflecting in Elias's eyes and creating an almost hypnotic rhythm. He realized that this was no ordinary trial, it was a test of perception, patience, and adaptability. "You will notice," Serenya began, "that our world does not bend to force or fear. Strength alone will not carry you. Observation, empathy, and ingenuity are your allies here." Elias nodded, carefully examining the paths. The garden's layout was confusing. Some paths led to dead ends, while others seemed to shift when approached. Strange floating orbs hovered above, glowing softly. He instinctively reached out to touch one, and it reacted, changing its color from blue to gold. "See?" Serenya said, her voice almost a whisper. "Every element here responds not only to touch, but to thought and intent. You must remain mindful, for every choice has meaning." Elias continued, moving cautiously. He had faced dangers before combat in deep space, crises on hostile worlds, but this was unlike anything he had ever experienced. There was no weapon that could help him here. Only his mind, his judgment, and his ability to understand unfamiliar rules would determine success. A low hum echoed through the garden, vibrating through the ground and resonating in Elias's chest. Suddenly, the crystalline walls around him shifted, forming a labyrinth. He realized that Serenya's words were not exaggeration. The garden itself was alive, testing him, observing him. As he stepped into the labyrinth, he noticed something remarkable. The environment responded to his choices. When he paused to consider a path, the plants leaned slightly toward him, as if waiting to see his next move. When he made a wrong turn, subtle obstacles appeared, slippery surfaces, shifting bridges, or walls that seemed to block the way only temporarily. Serenya's voice echoed softly from somewhere nearby. "Do not be afraid of failure, Commander. It is in the attempt that understanding grows. Humans are often praised for their creativity. Let it guide you now." Elias took a deep breath. His mind raced through strategies. He considered mapping the labyrinth, noting patterns, and observing the environment. Yet, he also realized that brute logic alone would not suffice. The labyrinth demanded empathy, perception, and intuition, qualities that had helped humans survive against impossible odds throughout history. He moved carefully, touching walls lightly, noting their texture and subtle vibrations. He noticed that certain symbols glowed faintly when he approached, and dimmed when he ignored them. It was almost as if the labyrinth were alive, testing his observation skills. Hours seemed to pass, though the shifting light of the garden made time feel strange. At one point, he encountered a pool of water that reflected not only his image but his emotions. Hesitation caused ripples, anxiety made the reflections swirl, and confidence caused them to stabilize. He realized that the labyrinth measured his mental state as much as his decisions. Serenya appeared silently, as if materializing from the light itself. "Many fail because they let fear or pride guide them," she said. "Humans are resilient. Yes, but it is courage tempered by humility that defines the worthy." Elias nodded, absorbing her words. He knew that humanity had survived countless catastrophes because they balanced courage with compassion, intellect with intuition. He took a deep breath and moved forward, focusing not on the obstacles but on understanding their purpose. Soon, he reached a part of the labyrinth where strange creatures floated in the air. They were translucent, with soft internal light, and their movements were deliberate. Almost like dancers in a silent performance, they circled around him, observing, testing. Elias realized that his reactions were being judged. He remembered what Serenia had said. Every choice has meaning. He took deliberate steps, maintaining a calm mind, showing respect to the creatures. Instead of swatting them away or panicking, he bowed slightly, acknowledging their presence. To his surprise, the creatures parted, forming a path forward. Observation and respect. Serenia's voice echoed. They are often overlooked by those who rely solely on strength or speed. But humans, you have the capacity to see beyond the obvious. Elias smiled faintly to himself. Humanity's ability to adapt and empathize had saved countless lives in wars, explorations, and crises. Now, it was proving useful once again. The labyrinth shifted again, opening into a chamber filled with floating platforms and glowing runes. The platforms moved independently, requiring precise timing to cross. Below them, a soft, pulsating energy suggested danger. Though Elias could not determine its nature, he studied the movements, calculating trajectories and timing, relying on instinct honed by years of experience. As he jumped from platform to platform, he noticed that the runes responded to his actions. Mistimed jumps caused the symbols to flicker in warning. Correct moves caused them to shine steadily. It became clear that the labyrinth was teaching, not punishing, guiding him toward understanding rather than mere survival. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Elias reached the chamber's center. A pedestal rose from the ground, holding a small, crystalline sphere. Light from the sphere pulsed gently, almost as if it were breathing. Elias approached, recognizing it as the culmination of the trial so far. He reached out and touched the sphere. Immediately, visions flashed before him. Glimpses of Serenia's civilization, their history, their triumphs and struggles. He saw their values, their triumphs over natural disasters, their pursuit of knowledge and understanding. And among these visions, he saw his own people, humans, observed through alien eyes. The sphere did not judge by strength, nor by weapons or wealth. It judged by intent, understanding, and character. Elias felt a deep connection, as if the sphere recognized the essence of humanity. Curiosity, resilience, empathy, and ingenuity. Serenia's voice broke through the visions. "You have done well, Commander. Few can navigate the labyrinth with integrity intact. Many are clever, but cleverness without empathy is hollow. You have proven that humanity possesses qualities worthy of recognition." Elias stepped back, breathless. He realized that this was not merely a challenge, but a revelation. The Sereni did not just measure skill. They measured essence, and humanity, through his actions, had impressed them. "You honor us with your understanding," Serenia continued. "You have shown respect, courage, and insight. But this is only the beginning. To truly understand, you must continue. Greater challenges lie ahead, and they will test not just your mind, but your spirit." Elias nodded, his determination renewed. The trial was far from over. Yet he felt a quiet confidence. Humanity had survived against impossible odds before. Creativity, adaptability, and moral courage were their greatest strengths. He would rely on them here as well. They moved deeper into the garden, the paths now glowing with subtle light, guiding them toward new tests. Platforms floated higher, obstacles became more intricate, and creatures grew more intelligent and observant. Yet, with every step, Elias relied on human ingenuity, improvising, observing, and adapting. At one point, a sudden challenge appeared. A bridge of light stretched across a deep chasm. It flickered, unstable. Hesitation could mean falling. Elias studied it carefully. He noticed patterns in its pulses and timing. Drawing upon intuition and careful observation, he timed his steps perfectly, crossing without incident. The labyrinth responded, stabilizing the path and opening a new way forward. Serenia watched silently, but the faintest hint of approval flickered in her eyes. Most would rush. Most would fail, she said softly. Humans, you are patient when necessary, bold when required. That is rare. Finally, after hours of navigating challenges that tested perception, morality, and ingenuity, they reached a serene clearing. A pool of liquid crystal reflected the stars above, and the light of distant suns bathed the area in a peaceful glow. Serenia gestured for Elias to sit beside the pool. You have shown much already, she said. Your people's qualities are evident. Courage tempered by humility, intelligence balanced by empathy, and creativity guided by morality. These are qualities that our civilization values deeply. Elias smiled faintly. Thank you, Envoy. Humanity has faced many trials. We have learned to survive not by power alone, but by understanding, cooperation, and respect for life, and for each other. Perhaps that is why we endure. Serenia regarded him silently, then nodded. Perhaps. And now, Commander, you stand at the threshold. What lies ahead will determine not only your fate, but the beginning of a new relationship between our peoples. Are you ready to continue? Elias rose, determination steady. I am ready. Whatever challenges lie ahead, humanity will face them with courage, respect, and ingenuity. Serenia's eyes glimmered faintly. Then we proceed. And may your journey illuminate the potential of your people, as you have already begun to do. As they moved forward, Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. The trial was not merely a test of skill, it was a test of character. A mirror held up to humanity itself, and with every step, he realized something profound. Humans were underestimated not because they lacked power, but because their greatest strength was often invisible. Their creativity, empathy, and relentless will to survive and understand. For the first time, Elias felt that he was not just representing humanity as a species, but as an idea. The idea that even in a galaxy full of wonders, humans could inspire awe, respect, and perhaps even admiration. The garden seemed alive around them, the paths shifting in response to their every movement. The trial had only begun. Yet already, Elias understood a truth that would guide him through what was yet to come. Humanity's greatest power was not in weapons or technology, but in the mind, the heart, and the unyielding courage to face the unknown. And in that understanding, he found not fear, but exhilaration. For he knew that this journey, this trial, was only the beginning of a story that would change the way the galaxy saw humans forever. The light of the crystalline garden seemed softer now, yet its brilliance held a weight that Elias could feel in his chest. The trial had grown more complex, and he sensed that Serenia was guiding him toward the ultimate test. Each step forward felt deliberate, as if the garden itself were alive. Observing every choice he made, Elias knew instinctively that the end of this trial would reveal more than just skill. It would reveal the very essence of humanity. Serenia moved silently beside him, her eyes studying his every move. There was a calmness to her presence, but it carried authority, a sense that nothing could escape her notice. Elias admired her composure. In her, intellect and beauty were inseparable, and he realized that she was not merely a judge but also a guide through this living labyrinth. Ahead, a wide chamber opened before him. The walls shimmered with shifting patterns, colors blending in a dance that seemed almost alive. At the center of the room floated a massive, translucent orb, pulsing with light. The air hummed softly, vibrating with energy that Elias could feel through his bones. Serenia gestured toward it. This is the Hall of Reflection, she said. Here, your choices, your intentions, and your character will be tested as never before. Many have entered, few have left with honor. The orb will reveal your inner self, not your skills, not your power, but your essence. Are you prepared? Elias straightened his back, taking a deep breath. I am prepared, he replied firmly. He felt the weight of humanity on his shoulders. The responsibility of representing not only his own life but the qualities of an entire species. He had faced impossible odds before, but never had a trial tested the very core of what it meant to be human. The orb's light intensified, casting reflections across the chamber that danced like fire. Elias stepped closer, and suddenly, he was no longer in the chamber, but in a vast expanse of shifting landscapes. He saw cities ravaged by war, planets consumed by storms, and civilizations that had fallen because they lacked understanding or foresight. Among these visions, humans appeared not merely as survivors, but as beings capable of creativity, empathy, and resilience. Elias understood that the orb was showing him not only humanity's weaknesses but also its strengths. He saw how humans adapted, how they learned from mistakes, and how they thrived even when the odds were against them. He felt pride but also humility. The visions reminded him that survival alone was not enough. It was the choices made in the face of adversity that defined a civilization. A voice echoed through the expanse. Serenya's voice, calm yet powerful. What you see is not merely history, Commander. It is potential. Your people have endured, yes, but their true measure lies in their capacity for understanding, courage, and compassion. Show me this, and you may proceed. Elias moved through the visions, focusing not on fear or destruction but on the moments of human ingenuity and moral courage. He saw scientists devising solutions to deadly crises, leaders making difficult choices to save others, and ordinary people performing acts of kindness and bravery. Each vision responded to his recognition, the light pulsing brighter when he acknowledged these qualities, dimming when he hesitated or judged harshly. The orb then shifted, presenting a new challenge. Elias was placed in a scenario where he had to make a choice. Save a group of humans in immediate danger, or a group of aliens equally at risk. There was no easy solution. Both lives were valuable, and hesitation could mean catastrophe. Elias's mind raced. He considered strategy, ethics, and empathy. Knowing that his decision reflected not only his judgment, but the values of his species, he took a deep breath and acted, finding a solution that minimized harm and maximized survival for both groups. The orb's light blazed, and the chamber returned around him. Serenya's eyes gleamed with a mixture of surprise and approval. You have done well, she said softly. Most would have panicked, choosing selfishly or with fear. Humans often face criticism for impulsiveness, yet you have shown patience, ingenuity, and empathy. That is remarkable. Elias felt a surge of pride. Humanity had often been underestimated, dismissed as reckless or primitive by other civilizations. Yet here, in the heart of the Sereni world, his actions demonstrated exactly why humans survived and thrived. They were clever, adaptable, and morally aware. Serenya gestured for him to follow further into the hall. Platforms rose and shifted, leading to a series of doors, each inscribed with symbols that pulsed softly. Each door represents a challenge, she explained. Not merely of skill, but of intellect, judgment, and moral understanding. You must choose wisely. Elias approached the first door. It opened to reveal a simulation of a human colony facing a natural disaster. He had to make strategic decisions, allocating resources and personnel to save as many lives as possible. He analyzed the situation, balancing risk and reward, and successfully navigated the scenario. The second door revealed a diplomatic challenge. Negotiating peace between two alien factions on the verge of war. Elias relied on empathy and understanding, applying lessons learned from observing Serenya's civilization. His words, careful and sincere, resolved the conflict peacefully. Each challenge grew more complex, yet Elias's human traits, curiosity, creativity, empathy, and adaptability allowed him to succeed. He realized that the trials were not designed to punish, but to reveal the potential of humanity in ways other civilizations rarely understood. Finally, he reached the last door. Beyond it was a chamber filled with mirrors, reflecting countless versions of himself. Serenia appeared beside him. "This is the final reflection," she said. "It is not a challenge of intellect or skill, but of essence. You will see yourself as the galaxy sees you, and as your choices have defined you. Are you ready?" Elias stepped forward, gazing into the mirrors. At first, he saw only his own reflection. But gradually, the images shifted to show humanity as a whole, its triumphs, failures, and unyielding spirit. He saw humans exploring stars, building civilizations, and creating bonds across cultures. He saw moments of courage, sacrifice, and empathy. The images pulsed with energy, and Elias felt a profound connection to every human who had ever faced adversity and persevered. Serenia's voice echoed softly. "You have demonstrated what is often overlooked by others: that humanity's greatest strength is not in weapons, technology, or numbers, but in the mind, the heart, and the will to face the unknown with courage and wisdom. You have proven that humans are worthy of respect and trust." Elias felt a wave of humility and pride. He realized that this trial was not just about his actions, but about representing the potential of his species. Humans had survived impossible odds, not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, empathetic, and unyielding in their pursuit of understanding. Serenia stepped closer, her gaze meeting his. "Commander Vorn, you have done what few could. You have navigated challenges, made difficult choices, and shown the essence of your people. You have impressed not only me, but the principles upon which our civilization is built. Humans are underestimated. Yes, but you have revealed why that is a mistake." Elias bowed slightly, acknowledging her words. "Thank you, Envoy Serenia. Humanity strives not only to survive but to understand, to create, and to do what is right, even when it is difficult. That is the true measure of our strength." A soft hum filled the chamber, and the mirrors dissolved into light. The orb pulsed one final time before retracting, leaving the chamber bathed in serene luminescence. Serenia's expression softened, and for the first time, a faint smile touched her lips. "You have earned not only my respect but the beginning of a new understanding between our peoples," she said. "Few outsiders have ever navigated these trials, and fewer still have done so with integrity and tact. Humanity has potential that cannot be ignored. I see it clearly now." Elias exhaled slowly, relief and exhilaration flooding him. The trial had been more than a test, it had been a revelation, a mirror held up to humanity itself. He had represented his species, not through force or dominance, but through intellect, empathy, and moral courage. Serenia extended her hand. "Come. There is one final matter to discuss, and it concerns the future of both our civilizations." Elias took her hand, feeling the warmth and strength in her grasp. He realized that this was more than diplomacy. It was a recognition of potential, of what humanity could achieve when underestimated by others, yet true to its values. Together, they walked toward a chamber that gleamed with soft light. Elias knew that the revelations of the trial would not end here. The knowledge gained, the respect earned, and the understanding forged would ripple across the galaxy. Humans had proven themselves not by conquest, but by ingenuity, empathy, and courage, the very qualities that had always allowed them to endure. Serenia's voice broke the silence, calm and firm. "Commander Vorn, what you have done here will change the way our civilization sees humans. Your actions speak louder than any words could. You have shown us that even in a galaxy of wonders, your species possesses qualities that inspire awe and respect. Remember this moment, for it marks the beginning of something far greater than a single trial." Elias nodded, feeling a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had survived countless challenges. Yet now they were being recognized, not for what they could destroy, but for what they could create, understand, and achieve. He understood that the galaxy's perception of humans was about to change forever. As he looked at Serenia, he realized that beauty, intelligence, and integrity were not separate concepts in her civilization. They were intertwined, and she had judged humanity not by appearance alone, but by essence, and in doing so, she had recognized the potential that humans had always carried within them. For the first time, Elias felt that the trials were truly complete, not because he had passed, but because humanity itself had been understood. And in that understanding, a new chapter for humans among the stars was beginning. The light in the chamber shifted, painting walls and floors with soft, pulsing hues. Elias could feel the significance of the moment. The trials were over, yet the consequences were only beginning to unfold. Serenia walked beside him, calm and deliberate, as if each step carried the weight of an entire civilization's judgment. Elias understood that what happened next could change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Commander Vorn," Serenia said, her voice soft but firm, "you have proven what few have. Your actions have revealed the essence of humanity. Courage, empathy, ingenuity, and integrity. You have faced challenges, not merely with skill, but with understanding. Now, it is time to see how that understanding can shape the future." Elias nodded, sensing the importance of her words. Humanity had always survived by rising to challenges, by thinking creatively and acting morally. Now, he realized, they were being offered an opportunity to extend those qualities into a new relationship with a civilization far older and more advanced than their own. Serenia led him to a high balcony overlooking the core of the alien station. From this vantage point, Elias could see ships of countless shapes and sizes moving in organized harmony. The city below thrummed with life, a complex network of beings, technology, and ideas. It was breathtaking. He understood that this was the heart of a civilization built not just on strength, but on wisdom, cooperation, and respect. "You have gained more than I could have imagined," Serenia said. "Most outsiders fail to grasp the values that guide our people. Yet you have observed, adapted, and acted with consideration. You have impressed not only me but the principles upon which we operate." Elias felt a surge of pride, tempered by humility. Recognition from an alien civilization that had observed humans for centuries was more than he could have hoped for. "Thank you, Envoy Serenia," he replied. "I only sought to represent humanity as it truly is. We survive not by power alone, but by understanding, by creativity, and by doing what is right, even when it is difficult." Serenia nodded, her eyes reflecting the complex light of the city below. "And now, you are entrusted with something more than respect. You are entrusted with opportunity. Humanity may now access technology and knowledge that can aid not only survival but progress. Should your people use it wisely." Elias's mind raced. The potential was immense. He realized that this was not a gift given lightly. The Sereni had observed countless civilizations over millennia, and few had demonstrated the moral and intellectual maturity necessary to wield such power responsibly. Humans, through his actions and the qualities they displayed, had earned that trust. "What must we do to prove we are worthy?" Elias asked, knowing that this opportunity came with responsibility as well as advantage. Serenia's smile deepened slightly. "Responsibility is inherent. Use what you are given wisely. Continue to act with the qualities you have shown. Courage tempered by humility, intelligence guided by morality, and ingenuity inspired by empathy. If your people can do this, you will earn more than knowledge, you will earn trust and partnership." As Elias absorbed her words, a sudden commotion drew his attention. Other humans, previously engaged in exploration and observation, were approaching the balcony. They had heard of the trial, and were eager to witness the moment that could define humanity's place in the galaxy. Their expressions were a mix of awe, curiosity, and cautious hope. Elias turned to face them. "This is not about me alone," he said, his voice steady. "This is about humanity. Every decision, every action, every choice we make reflects the essence of our species. We have been underestimated, yes, but our strength lies in more than power. It lies in courage, creativity, empathy, and determination. The humans listened intently, inspired by his words. They had survived wars, disasters, and countless challenges. Yet this moment felt different. Here, they were being recognized not for what they could destroy, but for what they could achieve when acting wisely and morally. Serenia gestured to the humans. Your species has impressed us. It is rare that outsiders can navigate the challenges presented. Not only with skill but with understanding. You now have an opportunity to prove yourselves further, to build bonds, and to show that humanity is worthy of partnership, respect, and trust. Elias stepped forward, addressing both the humans and the alien observers who had gathered quietly around. We have always faced the unknown with determination. We have survived through ingenuity, cooperation, and the willingness to understand. Now, we must continue to do so, not as isolated individuals, but as a species capable of greatness. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter. One where humans and allies across the galaxy work together, guided by shared values and mutual respect. Serenia's eyes glimmered faintly. Indeed. And know this, Commander. The path forward will not always be simple. Misunderstanding, conflict, and temptation will test you again. Yet the qualities you have shown here are not fleeting. They are inherent in humanity. Trust them, and you will succeed where others might fail. Elias nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Trust in humanity's potential, coupled with wisdom and empathy, would be their guiding principle in the challenges to come. He looked out over the city once more, envisioning a future where humans and aliens work together. Not as competitors, but as collaborators, building a galaxy that valued life, knowledge, and cooperation. The light in the balcony shifted again, signaling the conclusion of the trial. The crystalline paths that had guided Elias through the garden now formed a bridge leading to the central chamber, where Serenia indicated a seat of honor. She gestured for him to sit, and as he did, she spoke again. Commander Vorn, you have not only succeeded in the trial but have illuminated the potential of your species. Humans are often judged harshly by those who do not understand them. Today, you have shown that judgment is premature. Your ingenuity, courage, empathy, and moral integrity are qualities that inspire respect and admiration. Elias exhaled slowly, letting the words sink in. Recognition from Serenia was meaningful, but he also realized that this moment represented something far greater. The chance for humanity to step into the galaxy, not as conquerors or observers, but as respected partners, capable of collaboration and growth. A soft hum filled the chamber as Serenia moved toward a console embedded in the crystalline floor. She activated it, and holographic projections appeared, depicting maps, star systems, and technological schematics. The level of advancement was staggering, and Elias felt a mix of awe and responsibility. This was the opportunity she had mentioned, the chance to access knowledge that could benefit humanity immeasurably, if used wisely. Commander, your people are now invited to learn, share, and collaborate with our civilization, Serenia said. This is not a gift to be taken lightly. Knowledge without understanding can be dangerous. I trust that humanity, guided by the qualities you have demonstrated, will use this wisely. Elias stepped closer to the holograms, studying them carefully. He realized the magnitude of what was being offered. This was more than technology. It was insight into advanced sciences, interstellar diplomacy, and methods of sustainable development. Humanity had survived through ingenuity, and now they were being entrusted with tools that could accelerate progress exponentially. He turned to Serenia. We will honor this trust. Humanity will act responsibly, guided by wisdom, empathy, and the same principles that have allowed us to endure. We will not squander this opportunity. Serenia inclined her head, a gesture of approval. I believe you, Commander. And so, let this be the beginning not only of a partnership between our peoples, but of a story that will change the way the galaxy sees humans. You have shown us what others overlook, that true strength lies not in domination, but in understanding, courage, and creativity. The chamber shifted again, and the walls dissolved into a panoramic view of the galaxy. Stars stretched into infinity, nebulae glowed in brilliant colors, and distant planets rotated silently. Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had always looked to the stars with wonder and ambition. Now, their potential was recognized, and they had the opportunity to contribute not as conquerors, but as equals, partners, and innovators. Serenia stood beside him, her presence calm and inspiring. "Commander, know this. Respect and trust are earned, and you have earned both. The galaxy is vast, and challenges will come. But humans, when acting with the qualities you have shown, are capable of greatness. You have proven it." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we will rise to meet the future, not as isolated individuals, but as a species united by curiosity, courage, and integrity. Humanity will prove worthy of the trust you have placed in us." The sun-like lights of the alien city shimmered below, reflecting off the crystal structures and casting long, brilliant rays across the balcony. Elias felt the weight of history pressing upon him. Yet he also felt hope. Hope that humanity's reputation would change, that they would be seen not as reckless or unpredictable, but as capable, clever, and morally aware. Serenia extended her hand once more. "Come, Commander. Let us walk together into this new chapter. The future is not predetermined, but with wisdom and understanding, it can be shaped for the better." Elias took her hand, feeling the strength and warmth in her grasp. Together, they stepped forward, leaving the balcony behind. The paths of the crystalline garden shifted around them, opening new possibilities. Humanity had faced impossible trials before. Yet this was different. It was recognition, opportunity, and trust, a chance to shape not only their destiny, but the destiny of civilizations across the galaxy. As they moved through the final corridors, Elias felt a profound sense of purpose. The trials had been completed, yet the journey had just begun. Humans would now be seen for what they truly were: inventive, resilient, empathetic, and courageous. The galaxy would take notice, and in that attention lay the promise of partnership, growth, and a future full of possibilities. He looked at Serenia, and in her eyes, he saw understanding, respect, and perhaps even admiration. For the first time, he realized that humanity's potential had been underestimated not because of weakness, but because other civilizations had failed to see the qualities that truly defined them. And in that realization, Elias felt something extraordinary. The quiet pride of a species capable of greatness, the thrill of a future filled with endless possibilities, and the knowledge that humanity had earned its place among the stars not by power alone, but by the courage, creativity, and moral integrity that had always defined them. Together, human and alien, they stepped into a future where understanding, respect, and partnership would shape the galaxy. And in that moment, Elias knew that humanity's story had only just begun.